Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Yep, you read that right. They probably did you a favor. Have you ever been broken up with someone and slowly start to realize that they probably mistreated you? Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Our brains just like to hold on to the good memories because I believe, or I've read too, that there's the potential of what could have been. Actually, Megan Fox, I don't know if it's in a book, but she was on the Drew Barrymore show and she has an incredible like little quote about this. It's absolutely amazing cuz it's basically talking about having this perception of what they could have been or what you could see in them or what they could have been for themselves and or for you. And a lot of times you can't be the person to show them the potential of the relationship and or of themselves. And I think that's one of the hardest things to know and at the same time realized or realize that they didn't care for you as much as you wanted them to care for you, or maybe as much as you cared for them. And we start to think back eventually, or we'll start to remember like times that they were just so mean, rude, because the ultimate goal is to feel emotionally safe or to feel physically safe. And I think that's like the bare minimum in a relationship. And I think a lot of times that the way we grew up sometimes plays a part because they say that the nervous system, whatever your nervous system is used to, if you haven't done healing, you're probably going to try to find that in somebody else. So if this person does trauma bonding, which if for those of you who don't know, it's basically where they're mean to you, there's fights, they kind of lash out, like some sort of drama happens. That again, you probably don't feel it definitely starts off with emotionally unsafe. So if you don't feel safe and then all of a sudden they come back and they're like Mr. and Mrs. Wonderful and they're like loving and sweet, and then all of a sudden there's the disrupt again where it has to be a pattern. Like I want to make that clear is that if we all go through possible times when we're just not our best self, but it's not a characteristic of who we are. The characteristic is when it constantly happens. So, as a person that is emotionally safe or physically safe, and they do something outlandish and they apologize, chances are they're not going to do that to you again. And you can take them for their word. Now, somebody who is trauma bonding, this can happen, this disrupt. There can be the apology, and then later on, the same thing happens again, or something similar, or they get something where they make you feel bad. Am I? They make you feel bad. They make you feel unsafe. I know one person, and it does sometimes it doesn't even happen. Like it doesn't need to be like this crazy disrupt. I know I told this one person one time that I was going through a tough situation, and I told them that in that moment when they weren't there, that I felt like crying because I was just incredibly overwhelmed. And their response was crying doesn't solve anything. That's not necessarily true. crying does help you alleviate some of the stress that you may be going through, and sometimes it is very good and healthy to cry. Um, but there wasn't the emotional I didn't feel emotionally safe. Now, is that something, just that snippet, to take somebody and say, "Oh my gosh, they're a horrible person"? Absolutely not. But I'm talking about like little like plays where you're like, "Oh wait, this tiny thing happened, and then this tiny thing happened." It's the add up of all the small stuff and possibly medium stuff and then maybe big stuff, okay? So you need to look for a pattern, right? And maybe once they left, you didn't see the pattern. Um And then we start to rationalize what happened, right? So we're always like, "Oh, maybe what happened was that they're just tired from work. Maybe they've been going through a lot." So our brains start to rationalize while this type of behavior is okay and why you should accept it. I'm trying to look at my notes. And then another thing, this is like really big, something I've done, um, is that maybe if you said the right thing, um, then they could understand. Maybe if you have the correct conversation, maybe if you talked about it then, or, just you're always trying to figure out maybe it just wasn't the right time. Look, the person that cares about you, if they really want to hear you, they're going to hear you. They're going to want to solve it. And unfortunately, when you have or they have exited the relationship, sometimes that doesn't hit until they have left. And while the pain is awful, you can still say, "Oh, but this wasn't right. And they shouldn't have done that. And they mistreated you here." And I think a lot of misconception is that two things can't be true at once. You are allowed and possibly will still miss the person you thought you were with. You can still say, "Oh, these memories were great." But you can also say, "But you know what? It's a good thing that they left me because they really didn't treat me the way I should have been treated." And those two things can be true at once. You can acknowledge the good times and the love or care you had for them. And you can also say, "They weren't nice to me." But if you remember that they did you a favor and that you do deserve to be treated the way maybe you felt you treated them. I mean, we're all not perfect. That is not what I'm here to say. But if you gave more grace and you gave more kindness and they left you, we have to accept that this is a good thing. Because chances are, especially in tough relationships, ones that are very true trauma bonding, if they didn't leave you, you probably would have never left them. And therefore, better things couldn't come along. And now that they've left you, good things can come around. You just have to look for it, maybe give yourself some time to heal. Just take some time out for yourself. You don't have to know what's around the corner. You don't have to know everything right now. You just have to know that you deserve better and better things are coming. and you also don't have to know when. But I promise you, they did you a favor. Okay, I hope that helps. I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe, and y'all have a great day.